In case anybody complains, there's a wedding on Saturday, and I don't care if somebody complains.
All right. And we are live.
All right, welcome everyone, a few that are here to the Traffic Commission meeting for Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Bobbitt,
Here.
Commissioner Rain,
Here.
Commissioner Margetta, and Virtue are absent, and Chair Wilson.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's the approval of the agenda. Any comments or objections to the agenda as presented?
No.
Okay, blue folder items, I presume there's none. I don't see anything.
There are none.
Public comment on non-agenda items? Apparently none. Consent calendar? Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
What does that mean?
That would be 7A and 7B.
7A, approve
Yeah,
that.
the minutes.
I
And
so move. Second.
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. There are no excluded consent calendar items. We're already up to number 9. Amazing. Presentation from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department.
Perfect time. Yep. Sat down for nothing.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So I do have sites from November to now February. Well, February. And I'm sure you guys have it too. So let's see. November, we have 13 total. And a lot of them were focused on Crest Road and Portuguese. 13 total sites, 7 residents, 6 non-residents. And again, focusing on stop signs. And as I've mentioned in the past, if our deputies are not LiDAR trained, in regards to speed, they're not gonna be giving speed citations. Okay, so that's one. For December, we have 12 total, again, focusing on Crest Road and Portuguese Bend. We had 8 residents receiving those sites, 3 non-residents. And then January, Crest Road and Eastfield were the main focus in that month. And we have 8 total, 3 resident and 5 non-residents. For February, we've had a total of 16 citations focusing on Crest Road, Eastfield, and Portuguese Bend. 7 residents, 9, and like I said, a lot of these are stop signs. If there's anything else you guys would like to focus on so that I can relay back, let me know. In regards to speed, unless our deputies are LiDAR trained, you will not be getting any speed citations because it's very hard to determine speed without that tracker, and not everyone has access to it. Yes.
When do you expect to get if I recall, your certified person was in an accident?
Yes, and he
And
is
has been
still
out.
correct.
When do you expect to
So-
maybe have a person back for speeding around here?
The department, they do offer classes for LiDAR training. However, they're not offered all the time. So it just depends whenever the department will start setting up these classes, that we will send a few of our deputies to take those classes. They'll become certified, and then we'll be able to do these speed citations, which I'm sure it's something that you guys want to see also.
We do. If I can I'll speak for myself, but
I'll speak on it also, but go ahead.
if I recall, you said the same thing last meeting, which,
That's correct.
well, I can't recall when our last meeting was, but it was a couple months ago, probably. So,
2 months ago.
they haven't had any of these offerings for the certification.
No, not that we're aware of. Like I said, it all comes down to our training and scheduling, and once they do see these classes pop up, they will be sending deputies, and then whoever signs up for these, if they are LiDAR trained, they'll be making those speed tickets.
And your person that's certified, is he or she
Well,
expected to come back or not, or?
We don't know when he'll be fully recovered to come back. Again, his injuries were pretty extreme,
Ooh.
to the point where I don't know if he'll be able to come back and start driving his motorcycle again, But if not, I mean, he'll have a car and stuff. But as of right now, we've had no updates as to when he'll be back.
Is that Governor Davis?
No, Governor Davis retired.
Oh, okay.
Our new motorcycle deputy is Deputy Ochoa, and he's the one that suffered the, yeah.
So, I'm curious, you said if somebody signs up for it,
So
isn't it?
these are all our overtime traffic enforcement. So this is what people sign up for. We are, as a station, we are suffering from shortage. So they are also filling in the in-service, which is everyone who calls 911. We are filling out those spots too. So traffic enforcement for you guys, for RPV, it's like whoever wants it. However, because the station is in need of people to take over for these service for the vehicles, you know, they put that as like primary focus, because we want people to, you know, we want deputies to respond to 911 calls and everything else. The overtime traffic, it's there for the people that want to sign up, but because everyone's getting overworked with the overtime with our own station, not everyone's signing up for them. So, I mean, it's whoever wants it. And like I said, as of right now, we are suffering a shortage. It's not just us, it's countywide. Everyone in LA County Sheriff's Department, there is a shortage of patrol deputies. So not everyone has sufficient personnel.
So, I know, like, I work for the fire department through the lifeguards, but I know they do forced hires. And it just seems to me like it's sort of a missing link in the enforcement, is having the ability to have somebody out there with a radar gun at times, that the sheriff's department would compel a certain percentage or a certain number of people to be trained at a given station so they could offer that service to the cities they contract with.
And that's true. There are traffic units assigned to specific cities. Just like our motorcycle deputy was LiDAR trained, we do have traffic units who are LiDAR trained too. However, their choice of, you know, taking this as an overtime spot, that's totally up to them. It's not mandatory.
To an individual deputy.
Correct.
You don't
Correct.
compel them to do it.
When you talk about mandatory hiring, we do have mandatory drafting because of the shortage. So we are required to take a number of spots during the month to fulfill for our station needs, which is responding to everyone's call for services. Not saying this gets put in the back burner, but traffic, I mean, if we're already on, you know, on service and we're responding to calls, we want to make traffic stops, we can. And we do have, I believe, let me see. From what one of our other intels gathered, I think between November to December of last year, there was 37 sites. Now, I'm going to assume those were 37 sites, maybe including these, I'm not sure. But this is what was given to me. And then there was a one non-injury traffic collision that occurred in the city, which was, again, between November and February of this year.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna break in if I can, Charlie. It's my understanding that this information that we get, the citations, is all as a result of the, I always forget the word for it, the supplemental traffic enforcement. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so I've asked this before and never got a clear answer about, are citations ever written, or have they ever been written by deputies that are just doing normal patrol?
And as I'm pretty sure I've said before, yes. However,
But they're not included in this report?
they're not included in this because this is specifically for that supplemental traffic
But
enforcement.
I've asked the results of that. I've asked for, you know, okay,
Correct.
you're saying yes, but I've never seen anything that indicates that that does happen, or, you know, what the frequency is. This is all I ever see. So
Okay.
if somebody else is writing a ticket for either speeding, which I'm hearing not, or any other traffic violation, I have no idea.
So-
There's just nothing that's presented to me or to us to
So
review.
again, it's all stationed. So when these people write these citations, they get sent to our sergeant, which is Sergeant McCoy, who handles the supplemental traffic enforcement for this city. When deputies online, when they're patrolling and they make their own citations, it gets put into the box where our secretary takes it and she does everything she has to do with the citation. It has nothing to do with Sergeant McCoy. She never sees them. No other sergeant sees them. It gets sent from the box to the secretary, and then it gets sent to whatever court it has to go to. Hence, why it makes it so difficult for our sergeant to even be able to focus on how many sites were written, not including these. And our intels, like I said, they could only do so much. We would have to maybe even go through the secretary, which the secretary probably has hundreds of these, not including your city as well as Lomita, Rancho Palos Verdes, and San Pedro. So there are multiple citations that are written, but again, if they're written while the deputy is on duty, it's very hard for our sergeant to even keep track of these because, again, we're not gonna see them. No one sees them.
Okay, so are you telling me then I should stop asking because I'm not gonna get it?
No, we can try to, I've asked in the past for the deputies that do write sites to let me know, just so that I can keep track of it, but again, the day keeps on going and a deputy can
Okay,
forget.
I'm not hearing anything that sounds like I'm gonna get this information, so I'm just gonna move
Okay.
on from that. But I did want to comment on the stop sign thing. I'm not saying it's not important, but, you know, for a community, for me personally, I get calls all the time about, or complaints, I should say, from residents about speeding, primarily on Crest, but Portuguese Bend too. And without, I mean, we're paying for supplemental traffic enforcement, but this is not, in my opinion, this is not dollars well spent for the benefit of our residents and our community. So I don't know how to address this. I mean, I feel bad for Officer Ochoa, you said,
Yes,
that he was injured. It doesn't sound like Commissioner Raines said that there's any obligation or requirement to become certified with LiDAR. So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
So-
Hold on,
okay.
let me finish my comments. I'm wondering about the validity of spending the money on the traffic enforcement, supplemental traffic enforcement, if all we're gonna see is traffic signs. And I'm gonna bring it to our city council that, you know, because there's been mixed feelings about whether we should spend this money for this purpose anyway. If all it's being spent on is traffic or stop signs, I'm not sure it's the best money that our city can be spending right now. And you guys might even, you know, think it's good you don't have the requirement to do it anymore. But it's just, you know, stop sign after stop sign. Every single, is there anything besides a stop sign? I don't think there was.
It's our stop signs.
Honestly, this just annoys our residents. Not that they should be blowing through stop signs. I'm not saying that at all. But, you know, there was a group in here and we were having this discussion. I know which way, pretty sure I know which way the conversation would be drifting, which is, you know, we want the speeding address, not the stop signs. I mean, the stop signs are, not that they're not important, again, but the speeding is so much more important. And it's you know, there's very few accidents that are caused by blowing through a stop sign, at least in our community, maybe other places. But speeding, you know, that's a real danger because of pedestrians. There's a lot of pedestrians on Crest. There's horses on Crest, and it's just a real big issue. And residents, you know, that are the biggest complainers, and rightfully so. So I'm a little concerned about the direction that we're going right now, where it, you know, as Commissioner Bobbitt said, this is the same thing we went through 2 months ago, you know, and I don't see, based on your comments, I don't see where this is gonna be going in a positive direction anytime soon.
so, let me ask, you said you're getting a lot of complaints in regards to speeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you advise these people to call us?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't looked up the calls, but again, it's always helpful for these residents to call us and let us know, like, hey, we have speeding going on, because at least it also brings our deputies here into the city, and once they're in, if they do witness someone, you know, like you said, whatever, you're not so focused on blowing the stop sign, but if you do see someone, you know, blowing a stop sign or going at a faster speed, then they're gonna get pulled over. And
Well, this is something that can be, we can point to. Okay, this many stop sign violations were issued. When it comes to calling your station about a speeder, you know, typically what's gonna happen is, I witnessed somebody speeding today. Did you get the license plate number? No, he was going too fast. Okay, well, thank you for your call. And then, you know, you can't trace or track the results of that. Not that, I mean,
Seems futile.
it's frustrating to a resident to make a call like that, because I think they even know that nothing's gonna happen as a result of that phone call.
Well, I will tell you that everyone that calls our station for a call for service, someone will get dispatched. That's something that's always been implemented. It's always been said. You know, you call for a suspicious person, we're gonna come. You call for someone speeding or possibly a drunk driver, we're gonna come. That's part of that's our policy. We will come. So it's not like you're gonna call and no one's gonna show up. Now I was gonna buy, I never saw a deputy rolled by. We will show up.
Well, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying that you wouldn't based on a call, but it's not going to result in anything other than, you know, frankly, being pulled away from something that could be more important at the time, certainly. It's not gonna, there's not gonna be a positive result from doing that. This is something that, if there was some speeding violations, we could point to this. You know, somebody complains, you know, and this is the way it's characterized. You know, there's way too much speeding going on in Crest Road, and you're not doing anything about it, pointing to me. And if I had a piece of paper, yeah, we are doing something about it. We're paying extra money for additional enforcement, and this is the result. You may not, it may not seem like we're doing anything because there's still people speeding, but, you know, 12 speeding violations were written over the last 3 months or something like that. I mean, it's something objective and positive that we can point to. But just, you know, if my response is, well, you need to call the Lamita Sheriff's Station, and then I just get a shrug, you know, because I think everybody realizes, and I would think you too, that it's one thing to call the station and to dispatch an officer or a deputy, and then they get here. Of course, the speeding was done either 5 minutes or 55 minutes before, and that specific vehicle is not going to be found. You know, I know that you guys will do a door knock if we can get a license plate number and associate that with a home in the city here, but that's not a common occurrence. Again, the speeders are the ones that you're least likely to get the license plate number because they're going so fast. So I'm coming back to what I said in the beginning. It was I'm not sure our dollars for supplemental enforcement are being well spent, because this is not the result that most of our community members are looking for. So
Okay.
we're gonna have to have further discussion about that.
And yeah, that's totally up to you guys.
Of course. All right. Any
And
other
if there's
comments?
any alternatives you can think of or come back with, we'd appreciate them.
I mean, I will definitely be giving this back to my sergeant, and then hopefully, if I don't come up with a solution, she will, you know.
Well, I saw you taking notes. I would really appreciate
Yeah.
that if you you know, do pass on the feeling. I'm not speaking for the group here. Maybe I am, but you know, I'm speaking as the chair and also the mayor. So again, I'll bring this back to our city council to have further discussion about. But you know, we're facing some budget shortfalls right now, and I've always been a strong proponent of the supplemental traffic enforcement. I've been on a traffic commission now for, I don't know, over 10 years, and I've always promoted it, and even on city council, when some of the city council members say, well, you know, we're not sure if we should be spending the money. I've always been the one saying, no, we really should, because it benefits the community. But without the radar, without the ability to issue speeding violations, which again is the main thing in our community, it's not as effective, I think, as it should be.
Okay, I've got a little, I mean, for me, the big takeaway from, I think that we all agree on, is that it would be really, really, really good for all of us, and for you guys too, to have somebody else that can do this. So if there's anything that we can do to make sure that that happens, that would be much
Okay.
appreciated. The other thing is, and I hate to disagree with the mayor and the head of the traffic commission, but if I just tweak one thing, and that's that we see this, the three of us see this report. We know that they're only doing stop signs. Everybody else sees a sheriff's car, you know, tucked down the road, and they don't know if they've got a radar or not. It's a sobering thing that makes you think twice about how you're driving every time you see a sheriff's car that's there to do some kind of enforcement. So I think it is furthering the end of people slowing down, just having the car there, just having somebody pulled over, getting a ticket for something. So I think it does do that in you know, maybe 50% of the effectiveness of actually having somebody getting a ticket for speeding, but I think it does do it.
I don't disagree with that. The problem that I have though is if somebody comes to me and says, what are you doing about
Yeah.
speeding on Crest? We're having the deputies issue stop sign
Yeah, no,
violations.
I get that, I totally get that. I think there's a tweak on it that is effective.
I think that's why I was also encouraging, like, well, do your residents call us? Because, yeah, we might not see the cars speeding once we get here, but we're gonna have to drive down Crest Road, Portuguese Bend, all these other streets, and people will see us, and it's creating high visibility. Like you said.
And we
if-
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
if you see a police car, the likelihood of you, rolling through that stop sign or speeding is gonna be very, very minimal,
Yep.
so.
Having law enforcement presence here does help. I mean,
Yep.
just overall from not just a driving, but just safety overall standpoint. But, the focus, it would be great to get back to speeding.
I hate to sound like I'm only complaining because I do appreciate what you guys do
No, no.
here. And
we
you know,
do.
stop signs, I kept saying this, stop signs are not unimportant. I'm not getting that. But speeding is more important and, we're getting 0 on that right now. It's not like, it's 10% or 15 or 20, but we're getting nothing on that. And from what I've heard from you today, it doesn't sound like there's gonna be any resolution to this anytime soon because the way you characterize it, if they want to do this. However, you're understaffed anyway. It's like, oh, okay. To me, this is just, in 2 months when we meet again, I'm not expecting a different answer,
Okay.
If I should be hoping for it.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'll get back to my sergeant
That would
and
be
we'll try to
wonderful.
find a solution for this.
If you can exceed my expectations, I'll be forever grateful.
I'll try.
So I've got an off-subject question. That watch, it must do some amazing things, and none of them are
You know what this
radar
is?
enforcing?
No, this is just a G-Shock. I mean, it's
Oh, that's
just for looks.
huge.
Yeah, I like the bigger face, but no.
It looks like a
Just-
superhero watch.
Yeah.
That, it's gonna be
I
up
wish.
or something.
I wish it did more.
The LiDAR,
Yeah, I was hoping. I was
Oh
hoping.
my God, I'm sorry.
All right.
So that's, yeah. If you guys have any other last comments or anything, let me know.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right,
For your-
thank you
for your
guys.
presence, thank you.
You guys have a good one.
All right, thank you. Okay, number 10, old business, I see none. Number 11, new business, zoning case number 22-51, request for approval to widen the driveway and driveway apron as part of a site plan review to construct a new square foot, single-family residence, basement, attached garage, 5-foot-high retaining walls, non-exempt grading and related improvements on a property located at 4 Poppy Trail. Report?
Yeah, give you an overview of the site.
I didn't hyperanalyze them, but it looks like the same plan twice. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at or how it
You're
was different.
important, that's why they gave it to you.
Layouts of the same for different things.
Yeah, there should be a survey there showing the existing condition, and then another plan showing what they're proposing.
Of course.
Our only thing is the approach, right? I mean, it's just where it hits the street, so.
Yeah, so I'll just give you a brief overview. The property is zoned RAS2. The net lot area is 6.37 acres, and it's a vacant property. It has a development at the site, which is a stable at the very top of the property, so there's a stable pad there. Applicant is looking to put in, kind of use the existing driveway, but widen it out from 10 feet to 20 feet. And that driveway kind of leads up and then veers off to a new driveway that's 20 feet wide that leads to a new building pad and ADU pad. In total, the applicant is proposing a development that will go for 7,290 square feet. It includes a basement, attached garage, covered porches, an ADU, and some other structures, including some retaining walls. But the traffic commission's responsibility is really look at the driveway apron on here. And I'll turn it over to Vanessa pretty soon, but what they're really doing with the driveway is expanding it out from 10 feet to about 20 feet. That apron area is about 13 feet right now, so that's gonna be expanded to 20 feet. There's a little bit of I call it a bulge off of Poppy Trail that they are connecting to. Eventually, what they're gonna do is once they have the construction trucks and everything go up that, they're gonna go back and repair that, that little bulge. coming out there. But I'll transfer it over to Vanessa, and I'll show you also some plans of the site.
Good morning, Commissioners. I was able to review the plans and, like explained, the driveway apron is being widened, but it's in the same location. It's just being widened to 20 feet. They didn't give us the exact dimensions of what it was before, but it's in the exact same location. So to me, anytime you have a 20-foot apron, it's just better for the accessibility and maneuverability of the driveway. It's an improvement. I went and looked at the site. I did not have an opportunity to look at the site prior. I went and looked at it today. I do not foresee any site visibility. On the contrary, the driveway almost aligns with the roadway. It has a very clear line of sight. I didn't see any greenery there as well, but I would always recommend that no greenery be installed. That is higher than 2.5 feet. But if I had any objections, it would be with the site visibility, but 20 feet is what's acceptable, and I would recommend the approval of the driveway as proposed.
The site visibility at 20 feet, you mean from,
The site visibility is normally, for that roadway, about 125 feet, but obviously the roads are very windy. But in essence, you can see the vehicles coming in and out on the street by the driveway. They have enough time to react and decide whether I'm going to leave my driveway or not. That's what I check for mostly, and it's a very clear line of sight.
Stopped there this morning and you can see.
It's very
clearly
nice.
a lot-
I don't
a lot
get to
of-
see a lot of those. That's a very nice one.
My one concern I had, if you're coming down off of Portuguese Bend Road, and the way it's right on a big turn, is in foggy conditions, if you're not a resident, you're driving down that road, any way that somebody might be confused,
And go up?
to go up that driveway rather than going around to the left? How wide is the road to be, is the road about 20 feet wide, or is?
I did not measure the road. That could always be a possibility, but I'm assuming, because I don't review the plans for everything aesthetic that they're gonna do, that it will be a very well-defined driveway and you'll understand that there's a bend. But that could happen. I think that could happen anywhere in the city, honestly, because of just the geometrics and the terrain. But if there's a nice entrance being designed for it, I don't think that will be an issue, because I tend to drive very slow in this community, but I don't know the community. Up there, I think it's the second or third time I've gone in the 15 years I've been doing traffic engineering here, and I stay out of that area because it's so, it's had its issues, and we know that. So I don't think it'll be that big of an issue, to be honest. Could it happen? Yes, it could, but I see it as a very small possibility.
I don't think it's a traffic commission issue, it's probably more a community association issue, that the driveway may be going into the trail that's there, so I'll have to mention
I did notice the trails, yes.
Community association.
yeah, that's a good point, because the driveway is paved, the existing driveway is paved, and the trail right next to it is not, and, because I've been up there, I've been all the way up, and it was interesting, right, there was a chain across it, I assume?
All the trails are closed right now, so I saw signs. Oh,
driveway.
no, there was no chain. No, I was able to park there. I parked
Yeah,
on the driveway.
It's just hung over that post, so you can actually take it off and drive up there.
Yeah, but I don't think most people realize that, I think they just see the chain, like,
Yeah,
and wouldn't proceed.
I think it's really just to keep people, off the property. There's also a sign there that says, private property, do not trespass.
Yeah.
So it's just to prevent people from going up there.
John, can you point
It's
to the,
all marked off though right now, you can see it's all, they've got those stakes and things, if you wanna do a drive-by, but it's, it's a nice, the main thing, lots of visibility there with being able to see, you can see very well.
John, can you point to the bulge that you're referring to?
Yeah,
I couldn't figure
so
out what
I have the
that
plans
was.
right here shown.
Can you bring that
So-
up just a little bit?
Yeah, this is the property right there. It's about roughly, it's over 6 acres, 6.3 acres. Poppy Trail is down here, down the bottom right, and it sort of curves around there. There's a little bulge here, and I'll zoom in there, and you'll kind of see what they're showing. So again, Poppy Trail is right there, and then there's this little bulge that kind of comes out, and then they have the existing driveway, which is it starts off with about 13 feet, and then it kind of narrows down to about 10 and a half feet going up.
It makes a real sharp right turn partway up. I don't think the existing driveway was necessarily superimposed on these plans, was it?
Yeah, well, here's what they're proposing to do. So, again, this is the property. They're proposing to put the house and the ADU pad kind of in the middle of the property, and they have this driveway that comes up from the, from property trail. It's gonna be widened from 10 feet to 20 feet, and then it curves around.
Well, okay, hold on, that's proposed, right? Because
Yeah.
that's not existing right now.
Parallels it right here. It's a little hard to see, but it sort
Yeah.
of parallels it.
The existing driveway goes up to the barn.
Yeah, eventually, it actually goes off the property, and then curves back around and goes to the barn, yeah. So this part right here is gonna be brand new.
Yeah.
But in terms of the driveway apron, so again, there's poppy trail down below here, there's that little bulge that comes out, and they are gonna be widening it. You can see the existing from there to there, which is about 13 feet there. So they're gonna be widening that out to about 20 feet.
20 feet.
Now, when you say bulge, what do you mean by bulge?
This little, I don't know what you call it, but poppy trail kind of wraps around this way, and then they have this little part that kind of sticks out off of poppy trail and then connects.
Like an
to-
asphalt kind of path?
Yeah. Now, eventually, I would say this whole thing is gonna be repaired, reconstructed, once they have all the construction trucks going up and down that driveway. But the way they're showing it being untouched on the plan.
Okay, so the edge of that the driveway that's shown, is that the edge of the property line right there?
The property line is down here. And they have about, I think, 87 feet of frontage on Poppy Trail.
Uh-huh.
They're also gonna be moving over this bridle trail, and there's a little stream that comes around here. They've had to get reviewed by RHCA, and RHCA gave them approval of the easements about, I think it was late December. So about a year and a half ago. I'm sorry, not December, 2021, I believe. About a year and a half ago. It went through RHCA, and they had reviewed the easement lines.
So the development plans haven't been approved yet, is that correct?
Correct. And this actually went to planning commission Tuesday night, Tuesday, actually. We did the field trip and the evening meeting. They continued it to the April meeting, and they recommended that the applicant consider reducing the amount of grading, because they have about 42,000 cubic yards of grading being proposed. They're gonna go back and actually see if it's possible to even build on the stable pad at the very top. So there's still some work to do on the applicant's end.
Yeah, I've looked at that, I wondered the same thing, where the barn's at is probably the best place on the property to build for different reasons. View, largely because
Right.
the house pad sits way down and it really the view gets cut off with the next,
And the barn up there is actually in the easement.
Yeah,
It
I
shouldn't
saw that.
be, but it's, I can't remember what we decided, the association. We did something kind of special to help make that all.
well, there sounds like a lot of issues to deal with that are outside the purview of the traffic commission. I mean, we're just talking about
Yeah.
the meeting of the end of the drive, or the beginning of the driveway with Poppy Trail.
Correct. Yeah, your purview is really this area down here where the driveway apron is. If they do decide to use a existing barn pad, and, there is an easement over here that goes off-site for them to access on the existing driveway. Again, RHCA looked at this, they have this, it's called new easement line, so it's this little dash line there. And it's 15 feet around the property, except for this eastern side that goes around along that trail, which, it's 25 feet in that area, and I think it widens out back here to
What a mess.
more than 25 feet, probably almost 50 feet or so. So, yeah, here's the easement lines, it's all of
Remember all
this.
this? Mm-hmm. Okay. For you to deal with, not us.
But for the traffic commission's consideration, your purview is really just the driveway apron in this location. If they do decide to use the stable pad to develop the house, it shouldn't change what they're doing down here. This will remain the same.
Well, except would they continue to use the existing driveway?
That's the only driveway.
Yeah.
That's the only access up there.
Yeah, they'd have to widen it out, and it does go off property here. It's not shown in this plan, but it goes off property. It's about 10 feet wide, and then it sort of
Is there a
circles.
different
around.
owner of that?
Yes.
And
And
have
my understanding, looking at the history of this, is when they built the stable pad, it was owned by the same owner that lives over here, which is at 8 Riata. And they allowed him to develop the barn because the properties were adjacent. But they had mentioned that they were sold separately, the barn was supposed to be demolished, and for whatever reason, they allowed the stable to remain.
Sounds like he knows some history on this. He sell the property. Well, again, that sounds a lot more complicated than what we have to look at, which is just the driveway end or beginning, so.
I can make a motion. Make a motion to approve the driveway as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Second to hold up here. Guess we should wish them good luck with the rest of the process.
Yes.
Oh, there's a
Kidding,
lot of-
right?
It's gonna be a lot of grading and it's,
I would not be happy if I lived there.
a lot of issues making this happen.
I don't need any of this.
Okay, that takes us to matters from members of the Traffic Commission.
Nothing?
I think we kind of addressed that with the sheriff's deputy.
Yeah, I think so.
Good job.
Matters from staff.
I don't have anything to report. You have anything, Christian?
All right, well, I guess that takes us to our next meeting, which is May 25th. Let me check my calendar. It's on my calendar already. I even have an invite I haven't answered yet. I'm good for that day.
I am as well.
Sick. Yep. Okay. Then I will adjourn the meeting and end by saying aloha.
Yeah, have fun.
Enjoy your trip, safe travels.